And so if you care about learning classical music specifically, and those specific things too, like being an informed, good classical musician, a teacher is going to be important. And if you only care about writing singer-songwriter stuff, a teacher is probably not so important, or at least not to the same degree. You know, I know this is a weird thought, but I plan on having kids one day. I don't know how many. And yeah, that's something that I think about. How am I going to indoctrinate them into music? And even more specifically, the music that I like, right? I hate to say this, but if you have children, and I know that I'll definitely do this when I have children, I know there's the avenue of getting the ukulele, like the little ukulele, all the little string instruments, but honestly, what the best move is, hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright, we got a lot of stuff to get into. Not really, I already practiced, as usual. If you were in the practice live stream, it went on for like 4 hours today. It was, I got a lot of really good stuff done. I made some changes to BWV 997, and I feel I have Lobe to Turn pretty well memorized at this point. And that's good, because that's going to be the focal point of the next lesson that I have, which is in a few days or so. I'm going to show some highlights of the stream, of course. I think I'll leave the streams available until the next stream starts, just so you can always see the last one. Just for whatever reason you might have to watch the stream. I don't know why you would if it's not live, but in case you do, it's there. And like I said, in this video, I'm gonna have some highlights of that stream. Be sure to check out the next one whenever that starts. There's no schedule or anything, so yeah. Practice is good. The Prelude of 997, it's harder than it seems. It's actually insanely hard, but it's a nice little challenge. So I'm gonna be working on that for a while before I actually make my way to the fugue. I guess that's all the small talk we have to do today. Let's answer some comment questions, shall we? If you've been diligently watching the Sore Hands channel, you'll know that my video before this one was the infamous Alan Holdsworth. He's not infamous, I am. The video is infamous, I mean. Yeah, that one got a lot of attention. I don't think it's quite on par with the Tommy Emmanuel one for views to comments, but so far for 13,000 views in 8 hours, which is a lot, it has 550 comments, and a lot of them are fans of Alan Holdsworth, and they really are not fans of me, which is exactly how the Jacob Collier people started, exactly how the Tommy Emmanuel people started. So it's nice to see that even after all the subjects I've had so far, like Rick Beato, I mean Julian Bream, John Williams, all that stuff, early on I mean, and then, you know, later on the people who I review now, it's cool that there's still fan bases that are completely untapped. So if you found me through the Alan Holdsworth video, hey, you probably haven't come around to me quite yet, but maybe you will. Yeah, so you know, welcome to the channel, welcome to Sore Hands. Let's take a look at some of these comments. So this is from the Alan Holdsworth video, of course. From Danny Barak 552. Not friend of the channel, probably. I don't know yet. I don't want to throw that around. And this comment is referring to the first thing that I said, where you'll see these self-taught people be proud of being self-taught, you know, because they got somewhere without a teacher, which is cool, of course. There's nothing wrong with teaching yourself stuff. I self-teach myself all the time. Like, I taught myself how to edit videos and film and square a shot, even though I think my shot's a little crooked now, you can tell by the cow. You know, I didn't take videography classes for this, because sometimes you don't need formal education. If you have a vision already for what you want to do, sometimes you can just kind of do it. And that's the same for music, too. Like, let's say you want to be a singer-songwriter, like Taylor Swift or something like that. Because first, it's not that difficult, and the foundation is pretty nebulous, you know, like it draws from a lot of different sources, like playing folk guitar. You can kind of make up a lot of stuff and draw your own conclusions on a lot of things, and I feel you can get some interesting results. And that's what we call our voice or whatever, like our style of music that we develop. It's just kind of drawing from random sources and just putting it all together. What I'm saying right now might be seen as highly elitist. Sorry, I don't know what you expect. Oh yeah, and where I was going with that, if you want to learn something like classical, which to play classical music, it's more than just playing the notes that are written on the page. I mean, first you have to learn how to read the notes, which is already kind of daunting enough, especially if you don't know where to go to approach learning it, because where most people start, I feel, is they start with music that they like already, and then they get the score, and then they slowly figure out how to decipher it, or they just skip that entirely and just go straight to tab. And they don't start with the easy stuff that's meant for people who have never read music before, because there are resources like that that are easy, and even in just playing the notes, because with classical music, it might have several voices in it, it's hard to play. There's technique that's been developed over a long time. Like, classical guitar technique has been written about and studied since the beginning of the guitar, which was a while ago. And it's required because oftentimes the music that we play is kind of hard, and we need super efficient technique to actually be able to play it convincingly and without injuring ourselves. And then on top of that too, there's the interpretive aspect of it also, if you want to play it from the era it was written in. And so if you care about learning classical music specifically, and those specific things too, like being an informed, good classical musician, a teacher is going to be important. And if you only care about writing singer-songwriter stuff, a teacher is probably not so important, or at least not to the same degree. Anyways, wow, I've just been rambling. Your question was not saying you're wrong, but saying that you should get lessons because that's what people traditionally did isn't a great argument. Traditionally, YouTube didn't exist. You can learn quite a lot online. Now, I was using the word tradition a lot. I was referring to classical and also jazz as established traditions, and I don't mean that as traditionally people took lessons. At least in the case of classical, it's like hundreds of years old. That's what I mean by calling it a tradition. There's lore to it and whatnot, and having a teacher who's informed can be a good place to start. Because again, it's more than just playing the notes. There's also a way of playing, there's technique, all that stuff. And I guess also with what you're saying, traditionally, people who have gotten really good at, like at the time, what we call now classical music, they're usually aristocratic people who could afford lessons. So traditionally, yeah, people did take lessons. There's a lot that you can learn online, but if you find an online resource that's good enough to replace an actual teacher, I would argue that you just kind of found a teacher. Somebody created those resources to teach. You know, and the difference between that and finding your own voice in singer-songwriting or a kind of music that's not a long-standing tradition is that you don't need any influence at all. You kind of just need to have a basic knowledge of the guitar, and you can kind of just bang it out randomly, and eventually you'll come to something. And again, you don't need a teacher for that. That's my only point. Oh man, here we go. This is a good one. So this is from Masses Sam, friend of the channel. How's it going? So you said, so far, attempts to encourage my barely 1-year-old nephews to play music have failed. A 1-year-old is a baby, isn't it? It's like, are they even walking yet? Do you have any tactical advice you can offer? I've gaffer taped them to a Fender, but no joy. They're all goo goo gaga, but no guitar. I'm beginning to think they lack any natural talent. Help. Yeah, that's a great question. It makes me think about what I would do. You know, I know this is a weird thought, but I plan on having kids one day. I don't know how many. And yeah, that's something that I think about. How am I going to indoctrinate them into music? And even more specifically, the music that I like, right? No, don't do that. I know I talk a lot of crap here, but if my kids wanted to be Alan Holdsworth impersonators, I'd be fine with that. Like, of course, not while they're living under my roof, but after that, it's not like I'll never speak to them again or anything. I hate to say this, but if you have children, and I know that I'll definitely do this when I have children, I know there's the avenue of getting the ukulele, like the little ukulele, all the little string instruments, but honestly, what the best move is, in my opinion, it's the cat keyboard. I'll post a picture of the cat keyboard. I wouldn't encourage them to play piano throughout their teens and adulthood, of course, but for a child, especially a baby, piano is just unbeatable. It's so easy to play. They can express musical ideas with basically no work whatsoever. It's just gonna get their little brains just thinking musically. And on top of giving them the cat keyboard, I would also say, go ahead and just start playing a bunch of really great music for them. And this is a great excuse for you too. Like, this, I think, is part of the beauty of having a kid. Not that I would know, I haven't had a kid, but you get to sort of start again with your education. All the stuff you wish you did when you were a kid, like, oh, I should have practiced guitar more, I should have done whatever. You now have reference to what a second chance is kind of like. Don't like force them, like, oh, I'm gonna make you listen to Glenn Gould right now, but just play it in the car and just, this is what dad listens to. Sorry, this is what we're listening to. And just try to appear enthusiastic about it. Like, show music that you really like and maybe talk about why you like it, but appear enthusiastic about it, and you can hope that that enthusiasm will sort of rub off. Again, piano's great. Also, I also really hate to say this because of how this might affect their personality going forward, but singing is another huge thing. I feel like this is the case for a lot of people, but I came from a relatively non-musical family, and I know people who come from musical families, and they're so much better at singing than I am. I've seen this, especially going to music school and meeting people who I know come from musical families. It's a thing, learning how to sing when you're really young, and also being encouraged to sing a lot. So that's another thing too. You can think back on all the stuff you wish you started doing when you were a kid, and you can just start doing it with your kid in a non-forceful way, of course. And another thing you can do is go ahead and like change yourself for the better. Maybe up until this point you were never really somebody who would just sing la di da ba 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 da 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 and just like sing melodies like that. Maybe that changes with that kid. Like, that's just you now. that kid never saw anything before you doing that, so they just think you've always been like that. And that's just how you're going to be now. And in that, it's going to make you more musical too, which is great. And then from there, of course, playing. I think playing probably makes sense. You don't want rigorous training quite yet. I think music can start off with just play, and that can be play through singing, playing rhythm games. You can teach them takadimi rhythms. That's a fun thing that you can do just vocally. You can do takadimi rhythms and then replace it with funny words that a kid will think is funny. Like you can make quarter notes poo and then eighth notes pee or something, and then improvise with bathroom word rhythms. Like just stuff like that. That'll just get them thinking musically. And I know we're all adults here. We play our guitars, and that's sort of the end-all be-all of music, and we want them to just play the guitar. They probably don't need to actually start playing an instrument until they're, I don't know, like, I feel like I see 4-year-old violinists. That's way too young. I mean, like 8 at least. I would say for guitar, maybe around like 10. I don't know. That seems like a good age, which I know seems like a long time from their birth, but probably, honestly, before then, they should be learning piano, and then they can graduate to guitar after that. It depends on how mature they are, too. Like, maybe when they're 8, guitar is a good idea. I feel like 10 is a good age, like around 5th grade, I think that is. Maybe a little younger than that. Maybe around like 3rd grade, that's a good age. But definitely not 1. Definitely not 2, 3, or 4. Maybe at 5 it starts becoming a question. But before they get their hands on a guitar, there's a lot of music to be had, and there's a lot of playing to be done. And you should enjoy that too. In turn, that should also make you more musical, because now you can tap into what does a child like about music. Try not to ruin your nephew with expectations. Alright, I'm pretty sleepy, so I think we can wrap the sleepy log up here. I'm going to show some highlights from the last practice seshi-weshi, and then we're going to call it a day. So check this out. Hi, so I really like your videos. Do you like milk? I don't know. What kind of question is that? Weed can help with the alcohol? Yep, and I've been using that. Oh yeah, there we go. That's a good way to end off that stellar freaking performance that I just did. Your practice streams have definitely inspired me to get back into practicing seriously. I have a master's recital next year, so appreciate the motivation. Dude, I'm glad to help, but you gotta get on that. You got your master's recital coming up, and you're what, just doing nothing? Thank God you found this stream. Thank the Lord, because you need to practice. Yeah, I plan on doing this through until my master's recital for the next like couple of years, I guess. Yeah, everybody likes the fast tempo, I know. That's what's so great about practicing slow for like 20 hours in total in practice sessions, is that it feels really good when you finally just, you know, those are the keys to the Lamborghini right there. I'm not going to look at the first page, I'm just going to keep it on the second page here, and we're going to see where the issues are, and then we're going to be done with it. pretty crazy, huh? I've really been improving on those pieces. Yeah, again, mainly just working on those two. I think BWV 997 is going to be a project of mine for a good long while. I feel like the progress I made on Lobe de Trenin came so much faster than the Prelude to 997. But it's cool. I'm probably going to put a lot of time into that. I don't know if you actually got to hear any of 997. I might have played some clips of it, but it's not really at a place where I can do an actual run through of it yet. But yeah, that pretty much covers it for this one. I think I'm going to go to bed and then I'll film some reaction videos and stuff. I was going to do it now, but I don't know. I'm just kind of tired. Of course, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. Hey, want some guitar lessons? I'm fully booked, always. I just, like, you can send an email. There will come a time where I'm taking students. I'm just not taking new ones right now. It's the summer. Grad school starting soon. But feel free to reach out, and that's fine. Of course, head on down over to Rootin's Delight. There's a Patreon if you want to support me. Member section, all that stuff. There's live streams basically every day. So if you want to hang out there and practice and do all that, feel free to meet me there. And yeah, alright. I'll see you in the next one.